welcome everybody. My name is Debbie Mann and I'm with Festivals and Events Ontario. Today is another Tuesday Talks with FEO, and we have our guest Marina Phillips from Bébé Station. But before we start with Marina, I just like to remind everybody, feel free to, while we're chatting, mute yourself, but feel free to have your camera on. If not, that's fine too. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask them, or type them into the chat room and we will make sure that Marina is asked your question and she can respond to it. So welcome, Tuesday Talks with FEO. We've got Marina Phillips from Bébé Station, or Station Bébé, as she said earlier. Thanks for joining us, Marina.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's so exciting. And I recognize them at the festival, so I'm like, hi.
Yay! Yay. Well, let me just give a little quick intro to who you are. Mom, wife, and visionary, Marina Phillips is the founder, owner of Bébé Station, or Bébé Station. Prior to having her son, she was always at festivals, concerts, plays, restaurants, events, and more. Once she gave birth, Marina didn't want to stop having fun. Outdoor festivals are still fun with a small child and a hubby. But one day at a park, she casually started nursing her son, and then her hubby changed his diaper after his feeding, and she noticed something though. It was hot outside, and there was a lot of parents who were struggling with multiple bags, nursing covers, and baby trash bags for disposing of diapers. So fast forward, here she is with Bébé Station. You can read the rest of her bio online. But so welcome so much, and bringing your expertise to the table here, Marina. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So why don't you tell us how, that was a quick intro as to how you started Bébé Station. What was the incentive? What was, yeah, other than, struggling in a park?
Exactly. Well, I will say this, I've been very fortunate to have worked in corporate Canada all my life. And as I mentioned before, prior to my getting pregnant, my husband and I always used to be at festivals and events. We want to support our local communities and the communities within the country as well. So we had no problems driving to certain areas to participate in different events. But what we did find is after we did have our son and I chose to nurse, it was that there wasn't a safe space, for lack of a better word saying it, a safe space for me to be able to do that without the judgment eyes. I have no problems with it, but that's just how I am. Culturally, or even just in different areas, women, moms, parents are made to feel that the way they do things, it's wrong. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have a safe space for moms to not only just to be able to nurse or feed their children, excuse me, but also to change them. I mean, you can change them on the grass, but what if the weather's bad? You still want to stay at the event, you still want to support, you still want to spend money, but why not have a safe space to do so? And that's how Bébé Station started. It started with just a rickety tent and 2 chairs. And then I thought about it and I said, I know as a parent or as somebody that has a child, I'd like to be comfortable. I'd like to go to an event, spending the money to help support the community, support the event, but I'd like to have a nice space to do so in. So I decided to upgrade my tents and make them fancy. And to also assist parents in not leaving events, I decided to provide free wipes, free diapers, free changing pads, hand sanitizer, just anything that would make parents stay. So instead of having to do the panic of, oh my goodness, I ran out of diapers, or oh my goodness, I ran out of stuff, everything is provided for them free of charge.
Nice. And so you've been doing this for a few years now,
yes,
correct?
Yes.
So what kind of feedback are you getting from your patronage, from the festival organizers as well as from the parents themselves?
I'll start from the festival organizers, and this is said with a lot of respect as I say this. A lot of festival organizers that I've approached have been like, we don't need this. Cool. Okay, fine. I understand it might just be that you don't think you need it because for whatever reason, or maybe there's budgetary concerns. But if an event is billing itself as family friendly, then that means that families need to be accommodated, or families need to be appreciated. Families need to be given as much support as possible. So the events that have actually hired our services, they've overwhelmingly said, we love it. They've showed me their social media channels where their patrons have said, thank you very much for having it. We stayed longer. We loved it. The parents themselves, I've had parents cry, saying to me, we were ready to leave, but we got to stay because you were here. I've also had parents indicate to me that they will come to an event if they see my logo there, or if they see that there will be a baby station there, because they know that if they forgot anything, they don't have to leave, they can stay. I want to make the caveat that my business is unique in terms of it's the only business in Canada that's doing it, but I know some festivals and events do have a section for moms to be able to feed and nurse, and also for parents to change diapers. So I'm not going to say it isn't done, because it is, but I'm trying to scale it that it becomes a regular thing as opposed to a nice to have.
Right. And so festivals that are providing an area just for changing versus your station, like what would the difference be between?
So the difference is a lot of times it could just be an area, a space, maybe a tent, maybe not, maybe private, maybe not, may have people sitting in the tent with the parents, maybe not, I'm not sure. It depends, right? What I do differently is my tent is womaned. I say that because it's either myself or another mother that may or may not have their child with them. And as people come in, they get greeted, they get welcomed, they're asked, are you nursing? Are you changing? Do you need any assistance? Do you need any supplies? We make sure that parents can see that we're wiping things down. Everything is always clean. We want parents to feel like they just left outside and they come inside the lounge, and it's an oasis away from sometimes the noise, sometimes the sun, sometimes the rain. We want them to be comfortable. When parents are comfortable in our lounge, I promise you, because I've seen it happen, not only do they come back and visit me, but they stay longer. And they stay longer, maybe an hour, maybe 2, even 3 hours longer at these events, which means that they're spending money. And when parents spend money, that means that events are successful and parents feel good that they actually took the time to come out.
Nice. And do you find that you get more than just parents coming into your tent?
Absolutely. And so let me, I want to be very polite and say, I've got people sometimes that just want to kind of peek in and what's happening here? And it's like, hi, are you a parent? No, please leave. Sometimes we also get, families come and they come with grandparents or aunties and uncles, and we welcome them. We welcome everybody to come, but inside the tent, we want to make it that it is a safe space for parents to do what they need to do with their children. But it's not just parents, mom, dad. We've got blended families. We've got families that are part of the LGBTQ communities. We've got whatever the dynamic of family is, we welcome them. So I can't, and I'll be very transparent. I've put my foot in my mouth before, saying to people, "Oh, is that your grandchild?" When in fact it was a foster child. So I had to, take a step back and not judge what was coming in and just say, "Hi, how can I help you? How can we be of assistance? What do you need us to do? And please, feel welcome."
It's still a learning curve, isn't it?
It really is. And yeah. I think though we've been given the opportunity. I mean, the pandemic sucks, absolutely sucks. But we've been given the opportunity to stop and pause and reevaluate, what makes our businesses our business, what works, so that when we open up, and I'm absolutely confident and manifesting positivity that when we do open up, we've been given the opportunity to now just think of how can we make, whether it be subtle or even bold changes to the way we do handle families and family events, how we can be positive moving forward.
Wonderful. So because of the pandemic, you just mentioned that, and what you're offering, how do you anticipate festivals to support, the future of festivals?
Mm-hmm. So I feel that, I kind of broke it down in my head as the past, which is 2019, the present, which is nothing happening, and then the future. And I think prior, again, and I'm speaking again from an event that bills itself as family friendly, we did most events do enough, meaning, you can definitely see there is an area for kids to play, and maybe, uh, the like a splash pad, or maybe some seats for the parents, or maybe for the extended family. But I think we can do better. Um, in my perfect world, everybody that's on the call and everybody watching this will say, you know what, I like the idea of having baby stations so that we can attract the families to come and attract the families to stay with this service. But that may not be possible. But what could be possible is at least a space for parents, that maybe they need to just not be in the thick of things, and they just have a space where they can just sit down and catch their breath. Maybe so a grandparent can hold on to a child while the mom takes the toddler to the bathroom or to the porta potty. I think we need to be cognizant of the fact that the bare minimum isn't going to work anymore. Parents, families will not come out if they don't feel safe, if they don't feel that they're being catered to, especially if we are saying that we want them to attend.
Okay. And do you think parents are going to be policed at these events? Like, how do you see that? Do we make them feel safe and welcomed? I mean, I don't know.
And I'm not 100% sure the answer to that either, but I know that no parent wants to come to an event and be asked, are you guys all vaccinated? Or, well, no, we don't have a place for you to nurse or change your kids. Parents need to be felt like, hey, we want you back. And maybe, and it is tricky. It is tricky because legislation is changing, rules are changing. We want to be very careful what's coming out of our mouth, what we put on our social media, what we put on our websites when we're inviting people to come to events. But I am hoping that parents aren't going to be policed in terms of, well, why are you bringing a stroller? Why are you bringing your kids out? It's too busy. It's this, because parents hear that. I have parents telling me that they are judged for coming out to an event.
Are they being judged by other event participants?
Yes.
Is that? Yes, oh, it's the other event participants.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So it's event participants that they're looking at them like as if they don't have a right to be there. But from what I understand, all of us who do events, all money is pretty much good money. And the services we provide to parents or to families, we want them to be able to enjoy it. So it is difficult if we, as event vendors or suppliers, or even just event producers and planners, don't consider that some parents may not come out because they don't feel safe, or they don't feel they're welcomed.
Yeah. I think all producers really do, like festival event organizers really want that to happen. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately we can't stop how people react to things, and that's the downside, right? But I think it's wonderful that the option is there to have a tent or an area where parents, grandparents can go and rest and relax and take a break, because man, it's a lot of work going to I love going to festivals and it's exhausting. I can't imagine doing that with a toddler and a 5-year-old, right? And I would want to go anyway.
Or even if you're a parent that has, or a family, that has maybe a baby in arms and a preteen. Yeah. Because sometimes, again, we think of it from, babies and toddlers, but you might have a toddler and a 9-year-old, two different age ranges and different needs, but they're still part of the family. So how are we catering to them? And I was going to say too, about even from a policing perspective, here in Toronto, there's a big festival that happened, and the event producer said something that kind of distressed me. They said to me, because it was a street festival, and they said, well, we really don't want a lot of strollers and a lot of dogs, clogging up the street. And I thought about that, but you're a family-friendly event. Like, this is a big world-renowned event. It distressed me to hear that, because that told me that you want families to come, but you really don't want them to come, or you want them to come on a term of, walk or hold your kids in arms, but we don't want your strollers, and we don't want you to bring your animals with you. That's not logical to me, and that to me totally disrupts and totally, defeats the purpose of calling yourself a family-friendly event. I will say I did the event, and I'm glad I did, because I was able to have a lot of the families come, and they were able to take respite at my space and be able to, change and nurse. But they actually also said to me, if we didn't pass by and if you didn't pull us, we wouldn't have seen you. We wouldn't have known you were there. And that distressed me as well. But again, we have time to make a change. Like, this doesn't have to be something that happens anymore. We can make the change.
Right. So how can we encourage event producers to see the value of this, like just having that available to them through you or through themselves?
Right. Just know that once you have it, moms, dads, parents, families talk. So I had a family that came to my event, to my lounge, and they said, we follow you. Wherever we see that it's on your website or any events that we know that you can possibly be at, we absolutely come because we know you're here. So I would say to event producers, parents check, families check. They want to know that there is something that's catering to them, not from the fun part, because that's a given. The fun part is a given, but they want to know, okay, are there areas where I can go and nurse or change or just sit down with my families? And I'll take it one step further. Parents that have children perhaps with accessibility issues in wheelchairs. I welcome families that, they may have a 9-year-old in a wheelchair. Well, they can't really change a child's diaper in a porta potty. As much as we think it's convenient, it's actually not. So I've actually welcomed families into the lounge, and I've said, hey, if you're swinging by, please come and bring your child. We can close it up for you, and you can do it in our lounge. And the relief that I've seen has been encouraging, which tells me that we're forgetting a market that they also, as families, want to come out and have a good time, but they're not catered to. So it's tweaking our mindset, thinking about our community as a whole, and thinking about who's here, who's in our community that says that they want to come out, or what's the demographics of our community. And now, especially post-COVID, or we're not quite there yet, but hopefully post-pandemic, a lot more families are going to travel within Canada. They're not spending their money to go to Florida or to go, on a cruise. They're actually going to stay here. So all those dollars that they weren't spending, to go on vacation for the past 15, 16 months, they're willing to spend it across Canada. So now how can we as events or as suppliers for events, how can we cater to different cultures now coming, family cultures coming to different events? So what we do maybe in Ontario, in Toronto or the GTA may be different than what we do up north, but that's okay. We can now accommodate, and we can kind of say, okay, what would people who are traveling from a different, culture, a different area, what would they like to see? And hopefully provide that as well.
Perfect. Food and beverage service for parents. So what do you do? Like, you mentioned here, is it time to either replace or add, instead of a beer tent, or have a beer tent and a family tent?
Yeah,
or a family area.
So I'm making bold proclamations, and everybody that's honestly, I'm not opposed to the beer tent. I'm not opposed to it because it's a moneymaker and people like it. I get it. But then I think about, what about for families? Can we do something like that for them as well? So maybe not, obviously not alcohol, but can we have a family tent where maybe it's easier for families to get food and drink to feed their families? I don't know, again, what that would look like. And everything I understand is cost and just time and effort. But there's something to be said about saying to families, again, we want you here. So we've got a section, and I'm not trying to segregate anybody. I'm not trying to say that they can't be with general population. I'm not saying that at all, but just an area where they can not only get food, but feed their children without all the, you got to maneuver the stroller and maneuver 2 kids and maneuver the family and try and find this. Okay, go sit down at that, grab that table. Maybe just an area where they can do it, where it's calm and relaxed. And I promise you, as parents, we love to spend money at festivals all the time.
So when you're at a festival, do festivals, or do you put any signage up to say where you are?
Absolutely. So what I try and do is encourage festivals to put my my website logo, whether going to my Instagram or to my website, on their site as well, and specify that it is a nursing and changing station, right?
Yeah.
That way they can find me. At events, I have my pop-ups, I've got banners, everything around the tent. So from whatever angle you're looking at, parents know that here we are. Generally, most events do tend to stick me closer to the family section, which is perfect. I prefer not to be next to the porta potties. Anybody hiring me, please, I don't want to be next to the porta potties. I'd rather be, again, in the family section and somewhere where it's shaded. So again, it's catering, the little things that I can do to make it easier for events. All I need is my space. We come through all of our setup, everything. I'm looking to even provide, a hand washing station as well, so that parents don't have to, I mean, before we were doing hand sanitizer and things like that, but I'm going to get a hand washing station so you don't even have to go far. You can do just everything there and in the family section, so that, you don't have to go far if if you've got a kid over that side or a toddler running around, everything is safe and sound for you. But yes, we absolutely promote.
So you mentioned something earlier about too many kids and strollers and too many dogs. Have you ever thought of doing a dog tent, like just so dogs could go and get water?
So funny you say that. I didn't register the businesses yet, but I do have, and I can't remember what I called it, but something like doggy station or pet station, something like that. But I did have that as an idea to complement the baby station, as well as silver station, which is for seniors and those that are a little bit more mature. In the absolute perfect world, not only would an event have a vendor market or a food market, they would also have a baby station market or a baby station village, I apologize. And that way I can kind of encapsulate all of that in one safe space for events. So people can come with their grandmother or grandparent or older family friend, and the parents can be catered to from baby station. And if you have pets, we welcome Fido, or, if you have, an emotional lizard or whatever the case is.
Yeah. So that's very cool. Just expanding what your services and offering that. And it's, one-stop shopping, right?
Exactly.
Being able to provide everything. Well, not everything.
Most things. I don't do babysitting. It's not childcare. Don't drop your kid off. I've got my own. I'm good. But yes, again, one stop for parents, and again, for families to be able to come and know that they're catered to in one spot. Yes.
Right. And do you find accessibility? I know events try really hard to make their event accessible. And sometimes that can be challenging, I'm assuming, for some. And sometimes the event itself is accessible, but accessing the event can be a bit of a challenge, right? So what do you propose around that? So like what you can provide for them around.
Right. So generally the sizes of my lounges are big enough that, and I've had it happen, I don't know if anybody from the city of Ajax is here, but they were great. They had, they brought into my lounge the tables that can go up and down, so that if anybody who needed, again, they were in a wheelchair or whatever their accessibility needs were, they were able to come. And I was like, I welcome it. I had the space for it. Definitely, let's make this happen. So that's something that, it's great. I mean, it's thought of, you have it as a city resource. Let's make it happen. I'm going to try and bend over backwards and help supplement whatever I'm doing with whatever, because every event, every city knows what their community is like. Is it easy? As you said, no, it's not easy. But when you do the ask and there is, people that are interested in it, all of a sudden people talk to people, parents talk to parents, families talk to families. Like they'll put it through their blogs and the parent blogs, and guess what, this event was great because they catered to those that were hard of hearing, they catered to those that can't see, they catered to those that may have sensory overload, they cater to those that may be in wheelchairs. It's a plus win-win situation. Again, sometimes we don't ask because we're coming from a position of not needing. And that's one thing that I'm trying to learn myself, that, before I went out, I never really thought about where can moms change their kids or breastfeed. It wasn't thought, but after I had my son, it became hold on, what's missing? And how can we fill that void? So again, and accessibility it's a bigger discussion that I can actually even speak because I am abled. But I
Right.
will say that if we ask our community and our community responds, it's now, I think, our responsibility to be able to make the change or to at least accommodate as best as we can while continuing to ask and learn and not just say, well, we did it once and nobody showed up. What does that mean? That means nothing. That just means that maybe they didn't show up or they didn't trust the process. But as we continue to do it, it becomes something that people see on the regular, and they now expect it, which is a positive for us, as we do events.
Right, right. Yeah, accessibility. We had somebody on a few weeks ago talking about accessibility. So there are experts out there on that. But I just also wanted to comment. I know festivals and events are amazing about networking together and talking with each other and sharing ideas. But I also know that our suppliers are really a great resource for that as well, because they go to all the different events and they may see things. They may be at an event that isn't in your immediate network and can have some really great ideas and input for our festivals and for each supplier. So like sharing ideas. So I think that's really great too. Well, where do you think you're going to go in the future, like with post-COVID and how this is going to roll out?
Right. So post-COVID, post-pandemic, I'm very happy. I will say this, Debbie, that you gave me this platform to speak, and I'm glad that I became a member again of Festival and Events. And my goal is to be able to work with as many festivals in Ontario as possible. And I will say that even if your festival cannot have my business there, I'm also available to consult.
Right.
So it may be, somebody might be way far north or way far south or way far like that I can't get to you're like our resources aren't able for us to have you come. But my time, you can still hire me to consult on what a lounge would look like. Or, even if it was me sending, my signage, you're still hiring the Baby Station, but you're not going to have me, but I can help train and, educate the volunteers or anybody that's working this, as a service. It's I want it to become a not a nice to have. I want it to become regular. I want it to become so regular that I'm almost out of business because it's like, well, we've already got it. We're good. And I say, I love it because I'm trying to champion not just parents. I want parents to feel honored. I want them to feel that they are appreciated when they go to family friendly events, but I'm also championing events. I want events to do well. And, most of us, when we've grown up in an area with events that we go to as children, we tend to, as adults, go to those same events. And if you do have a family, you tend to bring your family or you tell friends from out of town. So it's a cycle, So if we can start this now, post pandemic, hopefully the next 50 years, it becomes so regular that we've thought of these things and we decide that we want to do it.
Cool. There was a comment here. Kyle just said the Baby Station was set up near our busker stage in Bala in 2019.
I love
It
Bala.
made a very welcoming family center area of the event.
Thank you. Thank you. And Bala, I love Bala. Bala Cranberry Festival, best thing ever.
Haven't been there yet. I gotta go.
You have to. It's gorgeous. And again, there's so many families. Like I'm stunned at how this beautiful province has so many different pockets. And sometimes I look at the list of different events that happen in Ontario, and I'm like, how is it? Like, I want to go to the Butter Tart Festival. If anybody here is on the Butter Tart Festival, I want to be there. I want to eat as well as provide the service. But there are so many nooks and cranny. And again, we've learned that so many families now are eschewing city life to go out into what is considered country or rural or not so much city. Well, let's cater to them as well.
Right. Right. Yeah. Festivals are community. I mean, festivals really do bring community together. And when we bring community together, then we, have resources like you available to help make it simpler and more fun. And we can take a bit of a break and not have to worry too much. So Marina, do you have anything else to add to this, or does anybody have any questions? I think we've covered a lot.
I think so. I don't think I have anything else to say. I just, as I said, parents generally, when they're in the lounges with me, they speak. They tell me how they feel about the event. They tell me, and I will be honest, 95% is always positive. You know, they're so happy to be out. And then on the other side, you also have parents that are very willing to share the fact that they're out, but they also wish that there was something for them. So yes, they're taking their kids to the kids zone or the family zone, but they just want to be entertained themselves as well because they're adults, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
As family members, kids stay kids for a short period of time, but we're still adults, you know. So sometimes I think, you know, it's good for us to also think about how can we make sure that the parents are engaged as well.
Yeah.
Because we do forget about them sometimes.
Right. Right. Well, I have no more questions. Is there anything from the floor? You know, I just think it's amazing that I have this platform to be able to share all these ideas and for the industry and to get it out there. So I don't see any, let's see, I don't see any hands up, no questions. No. Oh, let's see. Check out Marina's business. Oh, yeah. So Jay's posted your
Thanks,
your
Jay.
website. And well, then I think we'll close up. This was great, Marina. Thank you so much for your time, your expertise. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. This has been recorded and will be posted by tomorrow. And I'll send a note out to everybody that it's available to review. So thank you again, Marina. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for the information. And I look forward to seeing, next week, we have Michael Blau from Event Hub. I wanted to let you know it's at noon next week. It's not at 11. Michael is time zone difference was a little bit too much for him to be at 11. So we will be at noon tomorrow, but I'll be sending information out to everybody on that. So again, thank you, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.